Insulin is a very important hormone in our bodies. Hormones are like special messengers. They carry important signals from one part of your body to another part. Insulin has a very specific and crucial job. This job is all about how our body uses the food we eat. It helps our body get energy from our meals every day. Without insulin, our body cannot work the way it should. This vital hormone is made by an organ called the pancreas. This small organ, often overlooked, plays a truly big role in keeping us healthy. The pancreas is a gland that sits just behind your stomach. It is a busy organ that produces several important hormones. Insulin is one of these key hormones. Special cells within the pancreas, known as beta cells, are responsible for making insulin. These beta cells are quite smart. They know exactly when to release insulin into our system. They typically release it into the bloodstream right after we have eaten a meal. This precise timing is very important for managing our body's energy supply effectively. The pancreas works tirelessly every single day to help keep us healthy and functioning. Insulin's primary role is to help our body use sugar correctly. The sugar we are talking about here is called glucose. Glucose mainly comes from the carbohydrate foods that we consume. These foods include items like bread, rice, fruits, and sugary treats. Glucose serves as the main source of fuel for all the cells in our body. You can think of insulin as being like a key. This special key unlocks the doors of our cells. This action allows the glucose to move from our blood into our cells, where it is needed. Once inside the cells, they can use this glucose to produce energy. This energy is absolutely vital for every single thing that we do. It powers our muscles when we walk, run, or even just stand up. It helps our brain to think clearly and make decisions. It keeps our heart beating steadily, pumping blood throughout our body. Every tiny cell in our body needs a constant supply of energy to perform its specific function. Therefore, insulin is truly essential for life and for our overall well-being each day. If insulin isn't working correctly, or if there isn't enough of it, our body cannot get the energy it needs from food. This can unfortunately lead to very serious health problems over time. When we eat foods that contain carbohydrates, our body begins to break them down. Common carbohydrate-rich foods include bread, pasta, potatoes, fruits, and various sweets. The process of digestion transforms these carbohydrates into glucose. Glucose is a type of simple sugar. After digestion, this glucose travels into our bloodstream. From there, the glucose needs to get inside our body's cells. However, glucose cannot do this important job on its own. It needs assistance to make the journey from the blood and into the cells where it can be used for fuel. This is precisely where insulin steps in to perform its critical job. As the levels of glucose in our blood rise after we eat a meal, the pancreas responds. It releases insulin into the bloodstream. This insulin then travels through the bloodstream, reaching all parts of our body. It attaches to special sites on the surface of our cells called receptors. You can imagine this interaction like a key fitting perfectly into a lock. This connection signals the cells to open up their doors. This allows the glucose to enter the cells from the blood, thus providing them with energy. This process also helps to lower the amount of sugar remaining in our blood. If there happens to be more glucose in the blood than our cells need for immediate energy, insulin helps to store it. Some of this excess glucose is stored in the liver in a form called glycogen. Glucose can also be stored in our muscle cells as glycogen. This stored glucose acts as a reserve energy supply. It can be used later when we need an extra boost of energy. For example, our body can tap into these stores between meals or during physical activity like exercise. This clever storage system helps to keep our blood sugar levels stable and consistent over time. Keeping blood sugar levels within a healthy range is extremely important for our health. Insulin is the main hormone responsible for maintaining this delicate balance. It works to prevent our blood sugar from getting too high, especially after we have eaten. It also works to prevent our blood sugar from dropping too low. This careful regulation ensures that our body has a constant and reliable supply of energy. This steady energy supply helps all our organs like the brain, heart, and muscles to function correctly and smoothly throughout the day and even while we sleep at night. Sometimes the body can experience problems with insulin. These problems can lead to a common health condition known as diabetes. In type 1 diabetes, the body's own immune system makes a serious mistake. It incorrectly identifies the beta cells in the pancreas as foreign invaders. As a result, the immune system attacks and ultimately destroys these vital insulin-producing cells. Therefore, People who have type 1 diabetes produce very little insulin, or sometimes no insulin at all. They must take insulin every single day in order to live. This type of diabetes often begins in childhood or in young adulthood, but it can occur at any age. Type 2 diabetes is the most common form of diabetes seen around the world. In type 2 diabetes, the body faces two main problems with insulin. Either the pancreas does not make enough insulin to meet the body's needs, or the body's cells do not use the insulin properly. This latter condition is known as insulin resistance. It is as if the locks on the cell doors have become rusty or jammed. The insulin key still tries to open them, but it doesn't work very well. Over time, the pancreas may become overworked and struggle to produce enough insulin to overcome this increasing resistance. This type of diabetes often develops in adults, but it is becoming more common in children too. Gestational diabetes is another type of diabetes that can occur. This particular type develops during pregnancy in some women. It usually appears when the body cannot produce enough of the extra insulin that is needed during pregnancy to keep blood sugar levels normal. Certain hormones produced by the placenta can actually block the action of the mother's insulin, contributing to insulin resistance. This leads to higher than normal blood sugar levels in the mother. Usually, gestational diabetes goes away after the baby is born. However, it does increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes later in life for both the mother and the child. When there is not enough insulin available, or when the insulin that is present doesn't work effectively, glucose cannot get into the cells. Instead, it stays in the bloodstream, building up over time. This causes the blood sugar levels to become too high. Persistently high blood sugar over a long period can cause significant damage to many parts of the body. It can harm the small blood vessels in the eyes, potentially leading to vision problems. It can damage the kidneys, affecting their ability to filter waste. It can also harm nerves and larger blood vessels, increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. This is why managing diabetes effectively is so critically important for maintaining long-term health. For individuals living with diabetes, managing blood sugar levels is the most important goal. If the body does not produce any insulin, as is the case in type 1 diabetes, then insulin must be replaced. This is achieved through insulin therapy. Even in some situations with type 2 diabetes, insulin treatment can become necessary. This often happens when lifestyle changes like diet and exercise, along with other oral diabetes medications, are no longer sufficient to control blood sugar levels. The primary aim of insulin therapy is always to keep blood sugar levels as close to the normal range as possible. This careful management helps to prevent or delay the serious complications associated with diabetes. There are several different ways to administer insulin to the body. Many people with diabetes use insulin injections. They typically use a small needle and a syringe to inject the insulin just under the skin. Insulin pens are another very common and convenient method. These devices look similar to writing pens and contain a cartridge filled with insulin. They are often considered easier to use than traditional syringes, especially for people who need to take insulin when they are away from home. The insulin is usually injected into specific areas like the abdomen, the thighs, or the upper arms. Different types of insulin are available, and they work at different speeds and for different durations. More advanced insulin delivery systems are also available for managing diabetes. Insulin pumps are small, computerized devices that can be worn on the body. They deliver a steady, small, continuous dose of insulin throughout the day and night. This is known as a basal rate, mimicking the body's natural background insulin. The pump can also be programmed to deliver extra doses of insulin, called boluses, at mealtimes to cover the carbohydrates in food. Some newer, more sophisticated pumps can even link with continuous glucose monitors. These integrated systems can automatically adjust insulin delivery based on real-time glucose readings. There is also inhalable insulin, which is a fine powder that is breathed into the lungs for rapid action. It is extremely important to follow the medical advice provided by your healthcare team for diabetes management. A doctor, an endocrinologist, or a diabetes educator can help create a personalized treatment plan. This comprehensive plan will detail the specific type of insulin to use, the correct dosage, and the timing of injections or pump use. Managing diabetes effectively is a lifelong commitment that requires daily attention. Unmanaged diabetes can lead to very serious and life-altering health problems. These can include heart disease, kidney failure, nerve damage, and blindness. Proper care, which includes insulin therapy when it is needed, helps people with diabetes to live long, healthy, and fulfilling lives.